everyone, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a how-to video. So I'm going to be showing you how to create the perfect, crisp, clean cut crease. And then I'll be turning it into a double cut crease with negative space. So I'll be sharing with you my tips and tricks that I have learned along the way, and also kind of how to cheat a cut crease if you do have hooded eyes like myself. And to do this today, I'm going to be dipping into the Jaclyn Hill / Morphe palette, which is super exciting because I know so many of you have wanted to see me create an eye look using it. I may dip into like one other shade from another palette, but for the most part, I'll be using this palette here. And I swear I did clean it before this video, but pretty sure I made it worse. But yeah, I love creating cut creases. Oh my gosh, I love creating cut creases. I think they are very flattering on the eye and they definitely make a statement. And also I love double cut creases with negative space, as I find that the negative space really like sections the eye. You know, you can use two different shades like a yellow and an orange above the negative space, and then below the negative space you can use different shades like a pink, purple and blue, and still create a really clean look. Whereas maybe if you're creating like a smoky eye with those 5 different shades, they all might blend together and kind of create like a mush. But yeah, today I'll be creating a fairly dramatic cut crease and double cut crease, but you can definitely tone it down, you know, use really soft browns or create like a rough cut crease, or keep the lid color the same color as your foundation. You know, really mix it up to suit your everyday makeup routine. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoy this video and you learned something. And if you like this how to style a video, be sure to let me know. Maybe I can make it a series and, you know, show you how to create the perfect base or all that. So be sure to let me know below in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my channel before you leave and check out my social media links below, and let's just go ahead and get started. So whenever I create a cut crease, it is always the first thing I do out of my makeup routine, even before my brows, because I know that I'm going to be applying the eyeshadow higher than I usually would. So that means I'm going to make my brows a little bit shorter than I usually would so that the brow doesn't interfere with the shadow. And I know that I'm also going to be doing a lot of removing, and I don't want to have to worry about the foundation or anything like that. So it's just always the first step that I do. So just like with any eyeshadow look, of course, I want to start by priming the lid to create a nice clean canvas to work on. So to do this, I like to take the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Chantilly, and this is so full coverage, and I like to take that on a Sigma large shader brush, and I apply this all over my lid and also apply this past my brow, as I know that I will be applying shadow there as well. Then I just like to go over that with a damp beauty blender to ensure that there isn't like a thick layer of concealer on my lid, because that can make my lid look a little bit cakey. So we just want to thin out that concealer a little bit while still keeping its coverage. And I'm setting that concealer with some translucent powder on my Morphe Y11 brush to ensure that my lid isn't sticky, so that the eyeshadows will blend nicely. Okay, so what's missing for me in the Jaclyn Hill / Morphe palette is, of course, bright colors. You guys know that that's what I'm all about. So I'm just going to quickly dip into the Morphe 12P palette on the Morphe E27 brush, and I'm dipping into this yellow shade, and I'm going to be applying this in and above my crease to act as my transition shade. And I'm blending this a little bit higher than I usually would, because I want to ensure that I have enough room to create a nice gradient of color while still having enough room to create that negative space and double cut crease. And I'm also taking that eyeshadow out past my brow to really elongate my eye. And it's kind of like however far out you blend it is how long your cut crease is going to be. And I like a fairly long cut crease. I think that is really flattering because, again, it really elongates your eye. So I'm going to be blending mine out to about here. So now dipping into the Jaclyn Hill / Morphe palette, I'm going to be taking it Crimsicle on the Morphe Y16 brush, and I'm going to be doing the exact same process with this as I did with the yellow, except I'm going to be applying it just below that yellow shade and then gradually blending it into the yellow. And I'm going back in with the first brush we used with a bit more of that yellow to blend that shade out. So at the moment, we're just kind of doing the same process that we would do with any eyeshadow look. So we're gradually building its intensity and creating a nice gradient of color. So I'm now going to go in with the shade Hunts, which is this nice burnt orange shade. And this is the Zoeva Soft Definer brush. And I'm really going to focus that in my crease. And at this stage, I'm just applying this with a very light hand. And then just like the previous shades, I'm going to take this past my brow to elongate my eye. And I'm just repeating those steps to build up the look's intensity and depth. Okay, so I know that right now I look like an actual hot mess. I feel like I've just gone to like a face painting party or something and someone's tried to turn me into like an elegant swan and it's just gone terribly wrong. But this is definitely a look that gets worse before it gets better. So you're just gonna have to bear with me. It will come together. So right now I'm gonna go in with the shade Jats on that same Zoeva brush. And I'm going to be applying this just below the previous shade and doing the exact same process. And as I start to build up the intensity of the look, I'm starting to create a rough shape of where I want to carve out this cut crease. Okay, so right now we have a very rough base for this cut crease. So I'm now going to go in with concealer to actually carve out this cut crease so that we can create some more precision into the look. So my crease is about here. And looking at that from a corrective makeup point of view, where you kind of break up the eye into percentages, that's about a 20 to 80% ratio. So 20% lid space and then 80% space up there. So basically, to get more of the ideal eye shape, we want those ratios to come closer together. So today I'm going to create like a 45 to 55% ratio. So I'm going to create the top of my cut crease to be about here. So we have about 45% space there and then about 55% lid space. And I want a little bit more of the lid space because we want enough room to create that negative space. I really hope that this is making sense. Going back in with that same NARS concealer, we're gonna create this cut crease. So as you saw, I roughly know where I want the top of my cut crease to be. And then for the beginning of the cut crease, I just follow the natural shape of my natural crease. For the end of this cut crease, I'm going to mimic the same shape that I did with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to bring it out past my brow to elongate my eye. And to do this, I'm using a synthetic flat brush. And I'm so sorry I don't know the name of it because it is fairly old and the name has rubbed off. But you know, I'm sure Morphe, Sigma, Zoeva all have a flat synthetic brush. Okay, so now that we've carved out this cut crease, I want to remove all of this extra shadow underneath so that we can kind of start again, go back to a nice clean canvas. And I don't want to just apply concealer over the top of that because although the NARS concealer is very full coverage, I don't want any of that like brown shade peeking through. So I'm going to take the Garnier Micellar Water on a cotton tip and I'm going to start to remove that shadow. And I also want to make sure that I remove as much concealer as possible so that I don't accidentally pick up some of that concealer on a brush and then get that concealer all over the eyeshadow because that will be disastrous. So I'm hoping that the eyeshadow process makes a little bit more sense now that we've actually carved out the crease. So I'm now going to go in with the shade Chip on the Sigma blending brush and I'm going to be applying this just above where we carved out that cut crease, so that we start to get some more depth and intensity into the look. I told you guys this is a look that gets worse before it gets better. So it doesn't matter about the eyeshadow on the lid, we'll be going back in and cleaning that up a little bit later. And going back in with that Zoeva brush to blend that out. Now going in with Central Park on the Sigma Winged Liner Brush, I'm going to be doing the exact same process but applying it even closer to the edge of that cut crease so that we're really defining it. And I think this step makes the biggest difference. It really adds depth to the look so that the eye isn't so flat. I'm taking more makeup remover on a cotton tip to clean that lid again to reveal the cut crease. Okay, so we're kind of almost there. I'm now going to go back in with some more concealer and I'm applying this on my lid again so we have a clean canvas to work with for our next step. And I'm also going to use that concealer to really clean the edges of this cut crease. And you want to make sure that this line is as sharp and precise as possible, as that's what's going to give that overall clean, crisp look to this cut crease. And then setting that concealer into place with some more translucent powder on the Morphe Y14 brush. So if you were looking to just do a cut crease, then you're done. And as I said, you can definitely tone this down and customize it to your everyday makeup routine. And please keep in mind that I have nothing on my face, no brows, no mascara on, so it looks a little wild right now, but I promise once you have your full face of makeup on, it will look fabulous. So it's now time to turn this regular cut crease into a double cut crease with negative space. So basically what I'm going to do is work backwards. So I'm going to go back in with that Sigma winged liner brush and more of Central Park, and I'm going to be applying this to my inner and outer corner and using this as a guide for how big I want my negative space to be. I personally like my negative space to be fairly thin, probably like a millimeter and a bit, because I find that that creates a cleaner look. I'm then just filling in that space with the same shade. And it's okay if things get a little bit messy because we'll be cleaning that up later. Then taking a little bit of Jax and a little bit of Hunt, and I'm applying that closer to the center of my lid and using that shade to blend out that dark brown. And as you can see, we're creating a halo eye look within this double cut crease, which I think is a really flattering look. And finishing off the center of my lid with some creamsicle. So I'm just going to quickly go in with some glitter because I think that will really finish off this eye look. So I'm taking some of the Too Faced glitter glue and the Violet Boss glitter in Penny. And I'm applying that to the very center of my lid. So that glitter seriously tops it off. So I'm just going to now go in with a makeup remover to clean up the edge of this wing. And you're lining up this wing at the same position you would with liquid liner. Okay, so to finish off this eye look, I'm going to go back in with some concealer on the Sigma winged liner brush, and I'm going to go over that negative space to really clean it up. And I'm going to be very careful doing this process because we obviously don't want to mess up any of that eyeshadow. I'm then just going to go over it with a little bit of translucent powder to set it, because especially if you have hooded eyes, you don't want that concealer to transfer anywhere. And that is the cut crease done. So I'm just going to quickly apply some mascara. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex. And before I move on to my face, I just want to quickly take some more concealer to clean up the edge of that wing. Okay, so I'm now going to go ahead and do my other eye and then the rest of my face, and I'll be right back. So I popped on some lashes and finished the rest of my face, and I'll go ahead and leave all the products that I used down in the description box below. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned something, and hopefully I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys!